Welcome to Lifting the Lid Live. I am so excited to be here. How are you guys feeling?
It's crazy.
I'm scared.
It was a lot more relaxing when it was the three of us in a room.
There's a lot of eyeballs here, but it's okay.
So today we are here with our Perfect Match Riser, a career matchmaking app that, in my opinion, is going to revolutionize the job-seeking experience. And I'm also here today with my co-hosts, Seran and Lucy, who are also talent managers at TBH and who I absolutely adore. We've got lots of juicy topics to get into today. I actually feel quite sad that we've actually only got 20 minutes because I'm quite concerned about that.
I think we could do a lot with these topics.
And we can all yap.
Yeah, yappers.
A lot.
So we're going to get into the role of an influencer manager. We're going to talk about whether it can be replaced with AI. We've seen a lot come out recently about that. It's very topical.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what skills you need to be a good talent manager and how do you shoot your shot and find the right opportunities for you that feel aligned and authentic to what you want in your future. And then we have time for a Q&A at the end. So if any questions come up, please save them for us. So whilst I am always very careful to not talk about creators that I have managed, Grace Beverley's announcement yesterday was too apt for us not to talk about. For those of you who haven't seen it, Grace announced the launch of one of her new companies, which is called Retrograde, and it is an AI, what they call a talent manager in your pocket. We had an oh wow over here. So what do you think, guys? Like, are we going to get replaced by robots?
I'm going to lose my job. I listened to Grace's podcast and I can't lie, I went in pretty skeptical of the idea. Because obviously I'm thinking a robot can't be better than me. Like I'm good at what I do. But I think there's definitely lots of pros. I won't lie, I think there's definitely cons to it as well. But I can see why there's a space in the industry for it. And I think it fits. One of the things that they started off saying when they were speaking about it on the podcast and launching it was that this industry is so gatekept and there's no information out there, especially in the UK. And I just thought that was really interesting because that's exactly why Lifting the Lid was born and why it's called Lifting the Lid.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that, maybe not nice, but other people feel the same and other people are out there trying to like democratize information in this industry and make it more accessible to people because that's what we're working towards as well. And there should be space for multiple people to be working towards that. And I think this brings a really cool new element to that.
Absolutely. And I think, like, you're so right. Our tagline has always been, and so many people in this room are also on our mission to democratize space in the influencer industry. And that has been our mission since we started 2 years ago. So yeah, I think it's very much aligned with that. And I can definitely see that it has a place in the industry. But my take on it is that it can only go so far.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I definitely agree. I feel like a big part of the role, and we always talk about this, is the relationships that we build on a personal level with our talent. Like, it's such a human job. It's pretty much like 90% a human job, right? Like, when our talent are having a hard day, we're there to support them. We can talk to brands about maybe needing to push back content. And I feel like as much as obviously AI is super clever and you can input loads of information into the technology, I'm not sure how helpful it will be in like having those conversations, those like honest, open and honest conversations that you need to have sometimes on a human to human level.
Definitely. And also, like, for me, negotiation, you can't negotiate over email. Like, what is my number one rule, guys?
Always speak on the phone.
Exactly.
And I hated it at first. And I literally had a call with Verity and one of my goals for like the next quarter was I had to handle all tricky conversations on the phone because I just hated phoning people. But I can't tell you how much easier it's made my job and how much easier negotiations have been. There's actually someone here in the audience today and we worked on a campaign together with one of our wonderful creators, Clouds, and we chatted on the phone for about 20 minutes trying to come to a solution about amends for content. And through speaking on the phone, we actually just both understood where each other were coming from and got content that the brand were really happy with, Clouds was really happy with, we were really happy with, and it was a really successful campaign. And I just think if we had had that comms over email and I was a robot, I don't know if it would have gone the same way.
I also actually think on that, like, obviously, I know they said on the podcast that everyone's going to have like an @retrograde email address, right? So I'm trying to put myself in like the brand's shoes. I don't know how receptive I'd be to knowing that I'm chatting to a robot. I don't know, like a big part of our job is also like taking these people out for breakfast, lunch. Like you're not getting any of that out of a robot, sadly.
And we actually have some people like from agencies here, so I think it'd be really interesting to get their perspective if they wanted to come forth with it. But I think like my gut instinct is telling me as well, like just like when agencies are trying, like can you sign up to our platform? And we're like, no, like you're just adding an annoying, like this isn't, you're not able to make this kind of as processed as you'd like. Like, yes, we'd all love it to have processes. Yes, we like to add processes. We love processes more than the next person. But like there is only so much process that you can add to it when it is humans dealing with humans.
I do think there is a space for it, especially in the initial phase of a creator's career. And I think for me, when I first heard about it, that was where I felt, you know what, this could add a lot of value. And just to have, I was going to say someone, I don't know what to call it, a robot manager there to support you if you don't know if you're setting the right rates or you don't know how to word an email. Or I think in that sense, it could be really helpful. And I mean, my gut understanding would be actually that AI would give you the kind of ideas about what to say in an email and then you would send it. That was what I thought it was going to be. But then when I found out actually it sends the emails for you, I was a bit surprised. So I do think there's a space for it at the start of a creator's career with those kind of more simple, might be the word, brand deals, which don't have lots of nuances and other things going around. But I don't see how it could work when you get to launching podcasts and doing book deals and launching product. Like, I don't know if it could scale that far. Maybe it could. I don't really know how AI is built, but it could.
Yeah, and that's completely my thoughts as well. Like, I feel like even like, you know, good managers right now are using AI already in their talent, like, you know, are probably not so like obviously aware of it. Like, we will continue to use and like utilize AI. Like, that is, you know, the future. That's really important. But I think like those things, like you just mentioned, book deals, like all of those like more complex things that could come through, like IP, etc. Like you can't understand the breadth. You've got to have the bigger picture of what's going on for the creator. How are they going to provide like wider strategic advice in terms of like, you know, get onto this platform now and like you need to post X, Y, Z, or like that kind of a thing that completely like revolutionizes and, you know, doubles creators' income, which comes from managers who have a wider understanding of the industry. I also don't understand how like outreach will happen, how like those kind of like wide like networks and stuff.
It feels like it's a very much like a reactive thing, right? Like rather than a proactive thing. I feel like we're very proactive with our talent. If we're seeing opportunities, we'll put our talent forward for that. Obviously, this robot isn't going to be able to do that in the same way. It doesn't have and also it doesn't have context. Like, for example, like when it's reviewing contracts, like there's so much context to reviewing a contract beyond like the legal jargon. You know, like some of our creators have certain things that we need to embed it into contracts, and I don't know how it will like learn that context in the same way. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced.
And I guess I assume that because every person has their own AI manager, it kind of grows with you and learns with you. But for me, for it to learn with you, it's going to have to make some mistakes along the way and not get things right to then learn from it for the future. So that would, as a creator, make me slightly wary. And I think something you mentioned there about every creator having different needs is the main thing that stands out to me. Like, all the creators I manage are different people, and that's what makes them amazing. But I manage every creator in a slightly different way because everyone needs slightly different things. Like, you probably manage Seran and I as employees in different ways because we're different people.
We are. No shade, but we are.
No, we are very different. Oh, no, we're very different.
But like, like today, for example, we had like a job that was like really random. It's like, it could be anything, like who likes ice cream on the roster, or like who is vegan on the roster, or whatever.
Yeah.
And like Seran and Lucy will know their talents, so they'll be like, XYZ is vegan, like they really like beans, or like whatever it is. Like, it's just stuff that you wouldn't, like, we get such niche briefs.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you need that context to be able to pitch your creator. Our conclusion really then is that there's definitely a place for it. Like AI is the future. Managers will start using AI more and more. You know, this can be used up to a level before talent need strategic guidance. They need, you know, they want to diversify their revenue stream beyond just brand deals, which, let's be honest, is a really, really, really important part of what talent do now to build sustainable careers in the space and make sure that they're not, you know, staying in one lane, which is so important. Do you feel like that concludes?
I think
section?
so. Yeah. I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Same.
I'm really excited.
I'm so intrigued by it, and I, you know, wish them all the best.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak to Grace about it. We're having a meeting about it, because I'm sure there are ways that we can integrate what Retrograde are doing into what we do. So yeah, I'm very open-minded about the whole thing. All of us obviously found our jobs on social media, and a big part of what Riser does is finds opportunities, really exciting opportunities for people who are job seeking. Riser's motto, if you like, is all about shooting your shot and just putting yourself out there and going for that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I love that motto so much. And I'm sure I can certainly think of a time when I've done that myself. I'd love to hear your stories of that.
I feel like mine might be a bit different to you guys. I'm not a very social media-y, like, in a professional setting.
You're in the wrong industry.
I know. Don't sack me. But on a personal level, I'm not shouting on LinkedIn. I'm not putting things on my Instagram story about my work. I'm a bit shy on socials. I'm a shy girl. But I think for me, shooting your shot obviously comes in so many different ways. I was thinking about this. I was like, oh gosh, I've never actually done that. I've never like posted something crazy on LinkedIn, or like done something or done it in a really public way. But actually for me, bit deep, but shooting my shot was applying for this job, because I didn't think I had the right experience. I really was like, oh, I actually genuinely am shooting my shot here. Like, I probably won't get this. And it was just about building up my confidence to like put in so much effort into doing. I remember there was a task set, and I put in all my energy into doing that and getting my CV perfect. And that for me was like a really big deal, because I genuinely didn't think that it was going to happen. So I think for me, it's about putting yourself in situations that make you feel uncomfortable. Yeah. And maybe I do need to start posting on LinkedIn or something, because I've literally just said that I don't do it. But yeah, I think...
you're in this podcast now.
Oh yeah, again, I don't really shoot my shot, but I guess I just landed here. But yeah, like again, doing things that make you feel uncomfortable. Yeah. That's a bit scary. And I think it's good to do that. So yeah, for me, I think it was genuinely just applying for this job, and it worked. So I guess do it, guys.
And I mean, you applied for the job through following me on Instagram years and years ago.
Yeah.
So that, I guess, was a version of shooting your shot as well.
That's true. I was, yeah.
And manifesting the things that you want. Lucy, tell me about yours. I know yours will be a little bit more social media-y.
Yeah. So mine's a bit different, but also I think kind of shows that if you shoot your shot on something, even if it can lead to so many other things, is what I'm trying to say. So when I actually went to drama school, for those that don't know, I
really?
I went. Could you not tell? So I went to drama school, and when I was auditioning, I felt like I was constantly on YouTube searching for things about auditioning for drama school, and there was no information out there. And I was like, why is no one making stuff about this? Because this is stressful, and I need to know what to do. So I just decided when I was at drama school, right, I'm gonna put all the information out there about auditions and stuff. And off the back of that, I then kind of got a bit of a following and started doing social media management for a brand within the theatre world, which then led me to another social media management job, which I believe in turn helped me to get this job, because then I had some form of relevant experience. And if I hadn't put myself out there and posted that first YouTube video about something completely unrelated to what we're doing today, I don't think I would have been here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about like those little steps.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell my story, but it's more of like a sort of semi-embarrassing story. So my whole, obviously, like I started TBH, the main way I started it was by creating content, which was shooting my shot in that kind of like I felt really icky doing it. The videos were absolutely horrific, but it has led me to this point. But one thing I did was I would do rate card reading. I'm always like really up for being really open and honest about the finances of the space, because I feel like it's really, really, really important for emerging creators to understand like the scope, because I know that from when I created my TikTok account, people would reach out to me and, you know, they would be horrifically undercharging or just working for free the whole time. And so it was really important to me to kind of demonstrate that. So I actually made a video about Munya Chihuahua's, what I would have charged for him if I was his manager. So I made this video and I explained all my reasoning, the fact that it was really high production. I felt like, you know, he got X, Y, Z engagement and all the comments, etc., etc. And then maybe like 8 months later, I went to a Dungeons and Dragons premiere and sat down next to Munya.
I remember getting your message and thinking, oh no.
And I was like, oh God, this is just really uncomfortable. And it was one of those things where like those things that I did, like I was shooting my shot, like I was putting myself out there. It wasn't comfortable, like, but I just think those sorts of situations, you know, as difficult as they may be, like just show you that sometimes it's not comfortable shooting your shot, and sometimes you're not going to love it, but it's worth doing because it'll get you to the next step. We've discussed a lot AI bots, we've discussed shooting your shot. I would love to hand it over to you guys to see if you have any questions. I think we have like 5 minutes left. Come on, guys. I reckon someone has a question. Yes, Michelle.
So with the Grace on the AI, I thought this would come back to what is the like concept behind the name? Do you know?
Oh, no, I don't know. But I will ask her because I'm speaking to her about it next week. And I will report back.
I love the name. As a star sign queen, retrograde. Well, it's like Mercury's in retrograde, so I don't know whether it's like something to do with the planets, but
is it trying to like flip the industry on its head?
I don't know.
Is it retrograde? I mean, I'm just making this up.
I enjoyed the name personally. Don't know what it means, but I enjoy it.
Regarding the AI has to be trained on something. Surely all the deals and sponsorships are confidential information, so it's not public knowledge. So if you were to train the AI model, what information would you give it?
From what I understand, they've trained it off of like the experience, because the co-founders as well are also within the sort of social media world, and obviously Grace herself has worked on thousands of brand deals over the years. So from what I understand, they're training it off of their previous experiences. That's what I got from the podcast.
Yeah.
Do you know what I found though? It's like the whole thing about rates is so like tricky because I mean, this is something else that we've actually not really spoken about, like the context of rates. Like everyone's always like, oh, well, what should I charge? What should I charge? I've got 20,000 followers. What do I charge? But that is not like, you cannot decide what to charge off 20,000 followers. Like there's like a multitude of things you're looking at. Like I can look at someone and look at their page and just say like sort of from my head what I think they should charge. If I have the back end data, I can be even more specific about it. But there's like so many things going on in my head. I've tried to make it before into like a product, like a calculator. Like I've actually got my friend who's very good at maths to help me sit for hours and hours and try and make this rate card calculator, which fairly like would like total in followers, engagement, like profile level, like all these things. And it just doesn't work. Like I can't really explain it. Like it just doesn't work. So I don't really know how, and it would do that without that kind of wider context of knowing the profile, knowing the person, understanding their kind of positioning, understanding, you know, the circles they move in, understanding whether they've been, you know, in TV or whether they've, you know, what their background is, which all goes into how you set a rate.
Beyond that though as well, sorry to go off on another tangent, but like exclusivity, usage, like those things require even wider context because what we charge for one person for that exclusivity from, say, ASOS would be different to another person's depending on who they're working with, what content they're creating. So those kind of nuances are so tricky. I'll be intrigued to see how they do it.
I imagine it could only give you so much detail as a creator. Like I imagine it can give you a good estimate of your rates, but without having that additional context, you could actually be undercharging or you could be overcharging. I wonder how they're gonna set that benchmark off of.
Yeah, they must have data that they're using, which is based off. Because I think one of the co-founders founded Peblo, which was like a pay it forward creator app, which would like basically deal with the late payment element of and like take a cut. So they probably have like a good understanding of what creators are being paid at different levels. But yeah, I just think there's so much more to it than you just taking an average of what other people are being paid in their follower count and stuff. That was episode 3 of Lifting the Lid.
You can find us on socials at TVH Talent.
And watch the full show on YouTube.
Or subscribe wherever you get your podcast.